ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, particularly from abroad, and the organizer ICEC 2K17. Firstly, I'm thankful for inviting me here, and I would like to start with this thing because I know I'm well aware of this fact that I am in between the lunch and the audience, and the time is already over. It was proposed to be 1:20, so I will to keep things short and precise. In my case, I have tried to present here some general idea about the very latest and innovative technology of solar paints, and it is very latest as I can comment on that when we talk about the research. There are only 3 publications in the world so far, and one of them is from our group. And let me move quick, so really. So there is something about me. I belong to the UET Lahore, which is a partner of this conference as well today, and that is why I am here on the call of my alma mater. And then if I have to talk about this keynote or the invited talk, I will focus on energy conversion and solar paints basically. So this is the research group we are having in Institute of Space Technology, Islamabad. We are having research projects relevant to the renewable energy materials or the quantum dot sensitized materials from HEC as well as NESCOM and AWC. We are having a group of 10 students already, and 6 of them are masters, and they're all working on somewhat relevant to the nanomaterials. So we have already published 2 papers with impact factor of 7, and 3 are in the process of publication. We are having to work on more of them. So this is the area on which our research group is working. We are working on quantum dot sensitized solar cells. We are working on solar paints. We are working on nanocomposites for photocatalysis, mainly for hydrogen evolution. And we are working on nanocomposites for the strength of the materials as well. We have facilities available at Institute of Space Technology, and we have facilities under purchase process, and few of the facilities we have to collaborate back to certain national and international collaborators. For instance, I was seeing that Mr. Nitan Sadatif was here from Sigma Solar company that is located basically in Islamabad. We are having industrial collaborations, we are having local collaborations mainly with Bahauddin Zakariya University Multan for these materials, and in Taiwan and Korea, South Korea, where I belong to. So Professor Teju Pak, he is my supervisor, and right now we are having 2 students from Pakistan doing PhD there as a collaborative work, sort of. So since I have to introduce you people about solar paint, and I mentioned at the start of my presentation that there are only 3 research papers starting from 2012, then 2014 second paper, and then in 2017 the paper we published right now. So there are certainly challenges. I will talk about them shortly, and that is why these publications are not so frequent as compared to the other fields. We are all aware, and I am sure that presentation you will repeatedly see few of these slides, because for energy people and the renewable energy area people, these slides are pretty much common. And only one comment to make on this slide, that the day or the other we have to come to the renewable energy sources, because there is a threat, we can say like that. As a researcher I can say that, of the depletion of the natural resources. While the global warming and other factors are in parallel, they are just instigating the researchers to develop newer resources for the energy development. Conservation is there, but being material scientist, I feel it necessary for myself that I have to explore newer and better materials with better efficiency and so on. So one more point to focus here, being a Pakistani, that is important, and with an excuse to my foreigners out here, I would like to mention that इकबाल का एक शेर है कि उठाना शीशा गराने फरंग के एहसान, सफ़ाल हिंद से मीनाओ जाम पैदा कर. So being researchers, we have to create technology depending on our own resources and to tackle with the problems we are having. Definitely everybody of us might have seen the load shedding last night. So we have to understand the problems we are facing, and if we are researcher and if we are here with a purpose in the conference, we have to understand that how can we contribute in energy sector considering our responsibilities. So when I talk about material engineering, the area I belong to, I talk about this point particularly, that the population is increasing in developing countries. For me, Pakistan, like much faster, and the energy demand per person is increasing in developing countries more rapidly. It is increasing in developed countries like USA, Europe, everywhere, but the per person demand increase is more in countries like Pakistan. We can understand population, no focus on renewable, and so many things. There are factors. So it is speculated that there will be more need of renewable energy in developing countries in coming area, and the technology is depending on us. As in the previous presentation, it was shown to you guys that the Asia is the focus for the energy business, and the reason behind them is, I'm telling you, the energy requirement per person that is increasing out here. हम लोग अभी मोबाइल खरीद रहे हैं नए नए, तो you know that we are going towards touch screens and all that, but in Europe and other places it is already being done. So we have to generate resources by ourselves. Fine, just coming to the photovoltaic technology, we know that if we have to produce electricity, we have to generate it through renewable energy, preferably in the coming area. So the conventional fuel methods are, at an alarming stage. The people are conscious about that because of generation of certain things, right? So in this slide, it only covers, it is from NREL, the best, I can say that the best renewable energy materials lab in the world. So they are producing a lot of energy, and in all photovoltaic technologies, you will find that they have contributed in terms of research for the development of solar cell of almost every type. So my focus is, if you see the blue one, emerging photovoltaic technology, and among them, I can tell you in 2004, quantum dot sensitized solar cells. That was the area which was being introduced in 2004, and it reached to the level of dye-sensitized solar cells which were initiated or started in 1970s. And nowadays the efficiency of dye-sensitized solar cells, these are electrochemical type of solar cells, and the quantum dot sensitized solar cells, both are equal. And that is why this field is so much progressive. I cannot explain in detail, but I can tell you that the quantum dot sensitized solar cells are emerging because of the problem I mentioned earlier, that the solar cell will be required more in developing countries. So economy will play a huge role. Thin film solar cells are already developed, and we are getting silicon based solar cells and many other types of solar cells. We are getting that from countries like China, Germany, but the point is they are expensive and we cannot have their fabrication technology like at industrial scale. It is a little difficult and we cannot compete in the market. So what we can do is to produce some technology which is economical. Maybe at this point we are not that concerned with the efficiency and the life, but if we can produce economically at our level, maybe it will be a contribution. So quantum dots, I know that because the audience out here is quite general, I cannot go into its detail, but I can simply tell you it is a chemical material which can absorb light, and it can give you, like an absorbing layer, it can give you electron and hole. If it gives you electron and hole, you can use it for any photochemical reaction or making a solar cell. They are specialized because people are controlling their properties by various methods. So more importantly, I can tell you that they have the ability to absorb the light near infrared, and that's not the case with the conventional type of the solar cells, and you can make it using wet chemistry methods. That is why it is a little more interesting, because we don't have PVD, CVD, atomic layer deposition and such sophisticated deposition techniques out here in Pakistan. So we can go to the chemistry if it can help us to make some solar cell technology. So this is a detailed slide, but I'm just skipping it. There are various processes associated with the fabrication of this type of solar cells, And these type of solar cells have thin films. TiO2 is the basic material as a substrate for depositing quantum dots of various types onto it, and then you can get electricity from it if you couple it with some counter electrode of some suitable electrochemical values, potentials and all that. That is how solar paint came into evolution, which is the topic of my talk. The topic I started was solar paint, but why I had to tell all the things behind? Because the concept of the solar paint evolved from quantum dot sensitized solar cells. So you have to have a substrate, then you deposit TiO2 film, then you deposit absorbing material separately. It is complicated. What is being done in 2012, this line, this is from Kamath, a paper in ACS Nano, a very respectable, reputed journal in research area, and they published in 2012. It was the first paper. They employed cadmium sulfide and cadmium selenide, toxic, I agree, being material engineer, but that is the first paper in this area, so I think we can give them margin. There will come a time when we will be producing some material which is totally non-toxic, but initially quantum dots are having this challenge of toxicity a little. So cadmium sulfide, cadmium selenide and other type of materials coupled with titanium through certain method that is termed as Sylar, well familiar to the chemistry people, and they developed this material, sensitized it with absorbing material in the powder form, and then they tuned definitely the properties. There was a huge characterization and optimization, and after that they were in a position, you simply have this material like a paint, you can deposit it on any substrate, and then coupling it simply with some electrode you can get electricity. So initially they started with this is some stability absorbance data, and it is pretty much technical. So they determine the characteristics which we are familiar with, like JV characteristics and the stability, normalized current, etc., and they employed it, right? So one thing you can see, the image out there is transmission electron microscope image, and you can see the quantum dot size, and that size is less than 1 nanometer, if you can see there. So controlling this size, optimizing the absorbance properties, and then to employ it for the solar paint application is not that straight, rather it is very smart. So smart people are doing it, and they are having it the way they can. So one thing, the efficiency was very low, and definitely it starts like that. So the very first paint was 0.57%, which is very low, but it reached to 1.08 in that work. Some other people worked on this as well. This is our paper. We published this just few months back in the Journal of Physical Chemistry C, which is specified journal for the energy materials, and we replaced that material, and we lifted up somehow the energy, the efficiency of the process up to 1.4% of that paint. So we replaced some materials, and instead of using cadmium sulfide, we use lead sulfide material. We are still working on that to replace the lead sulfide material further, to employ some better materials. So still the challenges are there, game is on, but somehow we produce better efficiency, and I can tell you right here at this stage that this is the best efficiency for the solar paint in the world. No, none other, and it is being done partially at Institute of Space Technology, Islamabad. Then we had solar paints, and it is characterization again JV, XRD and absorbance, IBC. I hope you are a little familiar with them all. Let me summarize. When we talk about the solar paints, people are struggling to have better efficiency. Definitely we have to go for that. People are trying to make solar paints for the counter electrodes as well. So I hope you can understand. Photoanode is already converted into the paint. If you convert the counter electrode already also in the paint, you simply have to paste the layers, and you can get efficiency. And electrolytes as well, solid electrolytes can be used for that, right? Summarizing, okay, fine, I can expect that through my talk you can understand that quantum dot sensitized materials are emerging, and you can employ it for various applications, and it is a wet chemistry method. Therefore we can expect that it can tackle the energy, environment and economy dilemma on which people are focusing right these days. And yes, we have to talk about their efficiency, better materials. low cost, ease of fabrications, and so many other things. But let me tell you in the end, like what is the advantage compared to the solar cells if we have solar paint? Size. If you have solar paint, you can paint window as big as possible. So you can realize the concept of the solar window or the solar roof. Making huge panels is possible, but there is a limitation. But if you can convert this concept into the solar paint, there is no limitation of the size. You can go to the any size of you want to produce. So in this area, people are so much focusing on to how to develop better paints, how to improve their efficiency, how to improve their stability, how to make such materials which are not toxic and stable. So that's all till here from my side. This is my group with which we are collaborated in South Korea. That is Nano Device Engineering Laboratory in Hanyang University, South Korea, and we are collaborating to them through Higher Education Commission of Pakistan. We are having 2 students from IST there as as doctoral studies out there, research scholars, and for solar paints, we make materials out here, but till now, unfortunately, we cannot measure the stability and a few characterizations in details for that. We don't have transmission electron microscope measuring 0.23 nanometer size and evolving that. So we have to do that using the facilities of South Korea, and happily we are pleased to acknowledge and mention them. They support us whenever we require support from them, and we get results from them. And that's all. In the end, I would like to thank the organizers as well, and the distinguished for being here and listening to me as well. Thank you all. That's all from my side. If you have questions, you can ask me anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Basit. That was very nice talk. If someone have any question, please. No. I know personally Dr. Basit Saim. I have a good time with him in South Korea as well. When I was doing my PhD in South Korea, I have some time with him, and his performance and his activities there to present the Pakistan especially. He is not only a good scientist, and also he is a very social person. Maybe some of you have also attended last night. There was a social night in metallurgical department, and he was there for social night as well. So we started from the smart materials, and then we come towards the energy materials. So the material science and engineering and other technologies like electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and the multidisciplinary technologies, they are playing a big role to bring us the new technologies in front of us. Like few years ago, we don't have the concept of bioengineering. Nobody think like that. Biotechnology and engineering, biology and engineering will merge together to make the bioengineering. So these are the new technologies which are giving us the new ideas, and also we are getting the smart things in our hands, like mobile phones. You see, these have bring a lot of revolution in our life. So the topic of the theme of our conference is also like we have to search for the new technologies to conserve our energy. Thank you, everybody.